Hello everyone, I'm Fraud Review and today we'll be reviewing CornStarch. Like some other frauds we have covered, CornStarch still does the Celestial Challenge regularly. You'd think winning the challenge comfortably in a single try would be enough, but some people really need to stomp newer players to have fun. CornStarch is very obviously one of those. We can see in their R code that they have no trouble beating Celestial players. On multiple characters even. They surely wouldn't take all of those into floor 10 to farm rating, right? Oh no. 500 wins in Celestial across multiple characters wasn't enough for CornStarch. Sounds like an ego issue. If we take a quick look at their Steam profile, we can see that this checks out. I know that this is probably supposed to be sarcasm, but that doesn't really work if you're smurfing in floor 10 to farm elo. Before we head into the review, I'd like to remind you that this player has no trouble winning the challenge and playing in Celestial comfortably. Just because I'm able to point out flaws in their game plan doesn't really mean they belong in floor 10. Every player at every skill level makes a ton of mistakes. This player just makes way more mistakes than they should if their rating was true. In short, they are not a fraud because they make mistakes. They are a fraud because they play on a floor where they definitely don't belong. That's the fraud data. Let's check out the gameplay. The round start here wasn't too bad. Playing passively is usually a good idea, especially at the start of a set when you don't really know how the opponent ticks. This depends on the matchup of course. In some matchups you have a noticeable advantage in round start and really want to deny the opponent the chance to get started. A good example of this is the Asuka-Johnny matchup. Another important thing to note is that jumping at Testament at this spacing can be very dangerous, especially if you do it while they are in neutral. This is because of this monstrosity of a button. This is a huge fumble that constantly happens to new players. The reason this throw whiffed is that your opponent gets 5 frames of throw invulnerability after recovering from hit or block stun. To land a throw after hitting an opponent like this, you need to delay it enough to where it hits after the throw invuln is over. Here's how that would look in game. As you can see, I slightly delayed the second throw to make it connect. Throwing a card in neutral here was very risky. Testament had a succubus ready to hit Johnny with a crow or teleport in. As you will see later, CornStarch really struggles with being aware of what your opponent is doing in neutral, which is very important. The burst here was also kind of a waste. Testament doesn't really get great reward off of counter hit fast slash, especially because they didn't have meter here. This conversion here could have easily led into a super wall break. Here's how that would look. Dashing in after this deflect shield is very risky. Testament has the advantage over any aggressive option here. If you have meter, you can roam and cancel in after the deflect shield to keep your turn. CornStarch can vault or C in this sequence, but chooses to play out neutral normally despite having almost 2 bars of meter.
Duel 2. Let's rock.
Mistfinder is a horrible option on defense. It has 12 frames of startup, which is comparable to 5H. I'm sure you all know why you shouldn't use 5H on defense. CornStarch was a bit unaware of Testament's meter here. Johnny has a lot of ways to beat reversals while still keeping pressure up. I know that misinputs are normal and happen to everyone, but I kinda expected better from the greatest gamer that has ever and will ever live. Horizontal Mistfinder is an amazing button in neutral, but you gotta be a bit careful with using it because of its high recovery. This is especially true against Testament because half of their kit is projectiles and the other half is this monstrosity from hell. CornStarch had 2 bars of meter here, this round should already be over. The same goes for this block string. Here's 2 examples of how to use meter during Johnny pressure. The first one is a high-low via TK Mistfinder off of close slash. The second one is the same concept but off of vault PRC instead of close slash. Here's another completely raw card toss against the zoner that has a full screen hit scan projectile and arbiter. CornStarch was a bit too eager to just jump out on defense here. Greatest gamer that has ever lived, mind you. There was no reason to end this combo early here. This could have easily led into a super wall break and burst wasn't on the table. This burst here was not only incredibly risky since Testament just Roman cancelled, there was also no reward to be had because Testament had a massive life lead here. Joker Trick is an amazing tool to punish committal options in neutral, especially against Testament's projectiles. Just using it preemptively like this when Testament can just do nothing and block is a massive waste of meter. At this spacing, Johnny can just dash up into a close slash and beat most options, including throw. This was a complete waste of Oki here. CornStarch shows absolutely no awareness of what their opponent is doing. I wonder where they are even looking. This was an amazing conversion from Revelance. Good job. I have no idea why and how CornStarch is dropping all these combos. They were close to the corner, had meter, wild assault and a massive starter and still messed it up. It's also important to note that Testament had 2 bars of meter here, allowing them to just steal back their turn on the following pressure. This is exactly what I was talking about. If the Testament played it right, they might have been able to even take the whole round right here. Some of the less experienced players might not know this, but the setup CornStarch just did is called a safe jump. Safe jumps are used to hit the opponent on Oki but glide through them if they go invulnerable due to a reversal. Here's how that looks in game. We can see in the replay that CornStarch immediately inputted 2k after the safe jump, so what are you even doing this setup for? They also had meter to finish the round here, but they have absolutely no awareness of their resource.
Duel 3. Let's rock.
This was a horrifying display of impatience. Why are you trying to jump into the opponent while you're getting hit? This was a great pickup. This was a massive lack of awareness again. They had 50 meter to use in neutral here via Vault PRC or Card Super, but decided to just jump forward again. They had a chance to just convert there and decided to throw all the meter out the window on a whim. That's all for this week's fraud review. We will end this week with an Ask Our VR review. There will also be a poll for the next VR review character, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching.